Hi, you guys. It's Shauna from SBell Wellness. Thank you so much for watching. I wanted to just jump on and share about inflammation, have a little chat about what that means for us in our integrative well care. In integrative well care, we talk a lot more about the healthy inflammatory response than we often hear in kind of our doctor visits that we might go to. And so I think it's really important to kind of figure out, what does that even mean? And what can I do about it to make sure that I'm tuning into what's going on in our bodies with inflammation. So inflammation is not all bad. Of course, we do need it. We need it to be self-protective. We need it to help our body heal from acute illness, injury, those kind of things. We want those cells to go to bat for us and really kind of help to clear out, irritants and pathogens, especially with toxins, all of those kind of things going on. But it does become a big problem with some of the lifestyle experiences that we have, some of the choices that we make with different things in our lifestyle that can really impact us and start to have or become a chronic issue. And that's when we start to see disease. So research is actually really digging in on this. They're really starting to see that the majority of disease is actually related to chronic inflammation, which means we can really do something about that. And so one of the big things they're seeing is definitely weight gain. I know some people joke like, oh yeah, right, Shauna, like I'm just gaining weight and I can't lose this and it's just inflammation. No, really, it likely is. And so there's some things you can do about that. And as well as autoimmune things happening. A lot of times it's stemming from chronic inflammation. Sometimes we see the signs coming. So sometimes we see things like rashes, skin irritations, itchy skin, dry scalp, hair loss, puffiness. You guys have heard my story or seen my picture where I've posted about that. I didn't see my puffiness until after I started addressing inflammation, and then looking back realized how incredibly puffy I was. Dark circles can be a sign. Excess belly fat, especially like that inner tube type of thing going on in our bellies. Just digestive upset type of things. Things going on with your heart. I feel like I'm one of those commercials, like if I just started rolling, like it all would lead back to disease type of things happening with inflammation. But what are some of the culprits? I think it's really important for us to start having really serious conversations about this. I know for me, there are pieces of that are really hard and have taken a lot of time to really work through, and it's really an ongoing piece, but the more that we pay attention to it on purpose, we start to see relief and we start to see some things changing, and then it's really worth it for our well-being. So culprits are definitely environmental toxins. I think it's incredibly insane that there are 80,000 more chemicals in the past 50 years. To me, that's just an incredible amount that we have added in just a short span of time. Chronic stress absolutely is leading to inflammation. Hidden food sensitivities, so I'm not going to go a whole ton into that, but please reach out to me if you have thoughts on that or you want information on how to dig into that. I have gone on that wellness journey myself, and it changed my life to find out what food sensitivities I had and be able to make those changes and to be able to get my energy back and to do some healing with my thyroid and all kinds of things around that. So if that's something you're interested in, please let's chat about it. There's many resources of how we can get that information for you so that you can dig in and make those choices. Poor sleep, absolutely, right? So stress and poor sleep often go together. Not getting enough movement in our days, and then false foods. And so what do I mean by false foods? Well, refined sugars, right? That's like the number one culprit, and it's probably one of the hardest things for us to make some choices around. I know it's a really hard one for me. I always had a sweet tooth, And I really started learning a lot about sugars, and it's scary. It's really incredibly scary how much sugar is in our diets, and we maybe don't even realize it. There's actually 15 teaspoons of sugar in a 20-ounce soda. That's crazy. And so the average person is taking in 34 teaspoons of sugar a day. The World Health Organization actually recommends that we have 25 grams of sugar. That's 6 teaspoons. So recommended 6 teaspoons, and the average person is taking in 34. So I think that's huge. I think that's really showing us that there is something to say about sugar really having an impact on what's going on with our health in our body. Flours, so refined flours for sure. There's lots that they're showing about how, not just being allergic to wheat or having sensitivities to it, but that it has really actually changed so dramatically in the last 50 years that it's not the same grain that it used to be. And so a lot more people are having a reaction to that and maybe not even knowing it because of just how processed it is. And then refined oils. And so these oils are really high in omega-6s, and they are pretty much in all processed foods, and even we might be using them just to cook with and not even realizing. So canola oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, safflower, sunflower, butter and margarine spreads, all of those hydrogenated oils. The problem with those is that we're getting too high of the omega-6s and not enough omega-3s, and your body really needs a balance of that. So you could swap out and do like grass-fed butter, ghee, those nut oils like almond and walnut, seed oils like flax, avocado and coconut. Those are all good fats. So believe it or not, our body actually needs those fats. So we were taught that, we should go on a low-fat diet, and which actually means that it's a high-sugar diet, and this is what has happened to our bodies. So just some things to think about when we are thinking about the food choices that we're making and how that could be really having a major impact on that inflammatory response in our body. And so what should we be eating other than those oils that I just mentioned as a swap? We actually should be eating 7 vegetables, servings of vegetables a day, and 2 servings of fruit. It's kind of a swap actually, and the way that it's presented to us is that we should get our fruits and vegetables. We actually need to kind of swap that around and start thinking about getting our vegetables and fruit, because fruit can have a lot of sugar in it naturally. So you want to look for those fruits that are lower glycemic and really get more of those veggies in there. A good resource for that is to look into the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen list. Those are going to help you really look at what quality that you want to make sure that you're getting in the fruits and veggies that you are purchasing. Whether, it's really important to get certain ones in organic because of the pesticides that are in those, the way that they're grown. So if we're like most people and we're not getting those 7 veggies and 2 fruits a day, then a good supplementation is really, really important for the nourishment of our cells. And so this nourishment of our cells is really what's going to be able to have an impact on our healthy inflammatory response. It's actually going to start interrupting that chronic inflammation and start to subdue that overreacting of our inflammatory response. And then well-nourished cells actually have, they actually react more readily to the essential oils that we are wanting to use to get that natural support for our body. So really making sure that we get that foundation of nourishment, of course, as I've been talking along about the food, and then with supplementation for sure. You want to make sure that you're getting good quality supplementation. And of course, with doTERRA, we have some wonderful products to do that. So, there's some classes you can go back and watch. I've done a class on the lifelong vitality. Those are our supplements that are going to have your multivitamins in there. It's from a whole food source, so it's making sure that your body is able to absorb those. You're going to get your cellular complex in there. So those are the ones that are really working at that cellular level. It's really supporting those mitochondria, which are the powerhouse of our cells for energy. And then your healthy omegas, really super important for the inflammatory response. I talked a little bit about that in our oils and food, but really getting those healthy omega balance is so important to actually push that unhealthy inflammatory response out of the bloodstream. And so, you know, oftentimes we're healing from things and we're still seeing that unhealthy inflammatory response hanging around. And oftentimes it's because it's still in our bloodstream. So we need to make sure we're getting those healthy omegas to be able to flush that out of the body. Also, getting your probiotics. So probiotics are so important for the gut flora. So we have with doTERRA our PB Assist. So that's going to be super important to be taking those and making sure that you're having a healthy gut flora so that you are getting what you need from the foods that you're eating. And then your TerraZymes is also going to be your digestive enzymes to help you break down your food and again, get that nourishment that you are expecting to get from the food that you're eating. And then a couple more things that I wanted to talk about that I have found super, super helpful for supporting this healthy inflammatory response. And that's turmeric. So we've had turmeric in the essential oil for about a year now with doTERRA, but just launched at convention and now available for all of us today are the turmeric dual chamber capsules. These, you guys, are like a 1-2 punch for free radicals. It is really helping our body be able to have that healthy inflammatory response to make sure that we can deal with all of these toxins that are coming in from the products that we use, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, all of this. We really need to be tuning into that. And so why this dual capsule is because it has the essential oil turmerones in it, and then it also has the extract, which are the curcuminoids. And so, you know, turmeric products have been around for quite some time with mixed results. And the reason for that is because the curcuminoids by themselves actually have kind of a poor bioavailability. And that means that the body can't absorb that very well. But what the research has shown is that if you can combine the turmerones from the turmeric essential oil and the curcuminoids from the extract together, that is having the best absorption in our body. And so that's why these capsules are working so well. I've been taking them since I was at convention. I take 2 of them daily in the morning, and I definitely have noticed a difference in just my overall, like usually I notice, one of the signs I notice is when I'm having an inflammatory reaction is joint pain. And so that's something that I've just learned over time. And that's something that these turmeric dual chamber caps have really been making an impact on. So definitely want to look at using turmeric to help your body with your inflammatory response. And then copaiba. So copaiba we have had around, and it's just, there's so many multi-levels to what copaiba can do. It's really going to support that antioxidants as well. It really helps with healthy circulatory, so that's the movement of our blood. It really helps to soothe the nervous system, the digestive system, the respiratory system. So it's really having an impact systemically across the body. So this is one that I would recommend taking on a daily basis too. And I've been taking that one at night just because I think it also supports the nervous system for sleep. And then exercise. So we talked about how not getting enough movement is actually something that is impacting our healthy inflammatory response. And then we can have some oils that we can combine with exercise to really help support. And so I've talked recently about breathe and how just rubbing breathe on your chest or taking a breathe respiratory drop can be super helpful to help open up those airways so that you can feel like you can move through your exercise and not be as overworked, so that you're wanting to continue that movement. And then Deep Blue and Aroma Touch have been great after exercise for sure, topically. And then also we have the Deep Blue polyphenol complex, which is another supplement that if you are working out and feeling a lot more of that in your body, then considering that supplement may be very helpful, especially in combination with the turmeric. I've heard that those together have really been helpful, and I've noticed that myself personally. So we talked about how sleep is one of those culprits of really having a negative impact on our healthy inflammatory. So you want to just remind you of some of the oils that are helpful for sleep. Of course, I love Balance Still, a couple drops on the bottom of my feet before bedtime. Serenity is a great oil. You can combine those two, you could diffuse them. And I've been really loving rose at bedtime. And so at convention, it was mentioned how rose can be very helpful for keeping us asleep. And so I've been using my rose touch roller as well at bedtime, and noticing that it really is having a positive impact on sleep too. And then stress. So chronic stress is probably one of those top culprits for impacting our ability to have a healthy inflammatory response. And so the oil that I'm going to focus on tonight, or the trio that I'm going to focus on tonight, is adaptive, just because it is new to us, but there is so much time that was spent on these products, so much research and science that's really been looked at what they've put into these products to really support stress. So they've clinically studied the botanicals that are in there and the essential oils, and they really have found that the combination of those is helping to manage stress and anxiety. And the reason for that is that it can help stabilize those mood hormones, those mood stabilizing hormones. It's really going to help balance them out. The GABA in there is really promoting relaxation, because that's what our body needs to be able to decrease those excitatory neurons that are happening, that are keeping us anxious, that are keeping us stressed. And so if we can add those in by using a natural solution, we're really going to have an impact. You know, we have found it to be super, super supportive in our routines already. My husband is using that. I've asked him, like, are you ready to give your testimony? He'll get to that, I'm sure. But I really, he did make sure that I put that on refill and was getting that ordered. So I do know that it really is having an impact on the stress levels, to the point of really wanting to make sure that this is a natural solution that we have on a regular basis to go to. And so I said the trio, so there's a supplement with adaptive, and then there is the 15 milliliter bottle, so you can use that to diffuse or to make your own blends that you want to make with that. And then it also comes in the roller bottle already diluted and ready to go for topical use. And so one of the things that they mentioned about using that topically at convention is actually using it in the web space of your thumb. And the reason for that is those acupuncture points for brain reflexology. And so that's just a new little thing that I've been doing with putting some of those mood oils there, and really am noticing that it is supporting the brain and having that response that we're looking for with stress. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight, all about healthy inflammatory response. And so just kind of an overview of looking at the foundation. So we want to make sure that we're looking at the food that we're taking in, and those kind of things that we could be making some choices differently. And then being able to use these natural solutions when to help us kind of reduce the toxins that are happening in our life, to help us sleep better, decrease some of our stress responses, so that we can have that healthy inflammatory response. So you're going to start to see things like less pain and less digestive upset, less kind of skin and hair things going on. It's really going to have an impact across our body if we can really start to look at that inflammatory response in a different way, in a healthier way. So I hope this is helpful information. Please reach out to me if you have questions about anything I talked about, or if you want to dig deeper on some of them individually. I'd love to help you with that. if you jump on over to SBellWellness.com, you can get all my contact information over there. And I'm happy to connect with you and support however I can, or refer you out to some of those wonderful functional medicine doctors that I have in my toolbox so that you can get what you need to be your best self. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you at the next class. Take care and be well.